right, you guys, I want to chat about change, internal change, people changing. That's what I want to chat about today. There's something that triggered that thinking pattern within me, and I'll tell you about this in a moment. But let's chat about, can we really change? And many people believes that there is a timeline, a limitation to our capacity to change, right? They tend to say that when we're children, it's easier for us to change because we're still modeling who we are. And then as we get older, and they tend to say that there's a certain age that they're not going to change anymore. They don't have the capacity to change, right? It's too late at this point. And there's a specific thing that creates that illusion, because it is just an illusion. And that is the system that we live in. The system that we live in convinces us that things that create who we are, our character, our traits, our patterns, our behaviors, they're part of something that we cannot control, right? They're our character, they're our genetics. You are the way you are because your father was that way. You are the way you are because of the genes. An entire family, we are like this, right? And the reason we're accepting that illusion and that lie, and we're believing that lie, is because we don't understand truly deeply how human psyche works. Side note, this is also due to the fact that modern psychology was based on a bunch of lies and manipulations of the system. If you want to know more about that, there's an amazing book that I always recommend as a read that sort of opens our eyes about how this distortion was created. The analogy of I'll put this on the screen, it doesn't matter right now, but it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion, right? This is why we connect to heart, we do shadow work, we follow our intuition, not the techniques of therapy and understanding ourselves, because it's all based on matrix and it's all based on lies. And again, the reason we believe that is because we live in a system that has disconnected us from our intuition, disconnected us from anything that is not tangible and measurable, that has no proof, disconnected us from self, from the eternal part of self, from the soul. So we believe that and we accept that. Yeah, this is just who I am. Genetics, without understanding that it's not genetics, it's generational trauma. And what influenced this trauma, and I often, hear people say that if it's childhood trauma, how is this possible that, I have 2 children and they're so different? It must be character, it must be genes. Like, listen, no one who has 2, 3, 4 children, they were never raised by same parents. And even stupid psychology knows this, right? That we don't show up in the same way. It's literally impossible. We constantly change. Well, either we expand or either we decline, but we constantly change. So we're different people. The moment your first, second, third, and so on child was born, circumstances change, the world changes. And yes, there's a unique frequency to the soul of that child that will change how it will react to the trauma that you will create. This is also why, and I highlight this to you guys always, from the same trauma, avoidant and anxious people are created from a very same trauma, and it's a different thing on a spectrum, right? Because there's also circumstances and there's also your natural vibration. Now, I want you to realize that it's all a lie and it's all an illusion. We have the capacity to change, and any person who went through spiritual awakening, whether that's awakening of the mind or true awakening of the Kundalini energy within, we change incredibly. We remove all these things that people used to tell us that this is who you are. This is your character. This is your thing, right? And this is why I specifically created my Shadow Work Playbook, to help you guys to dive into these topics and to understand it and to remove the illusion and start doing the work. But there is no limit to our growth and to our expansion. I know people who awakened when they were in their 50s, in their 60s, and they change every day. It's the removal of the illusion built upon us, on us by the system that allows you to naturally change. And I often highlight this to you guys as well in my readings, that change is inevitable. Transformation is inevitable. People who say that people don't change are ridiculous. And even if you are someone who is very logical, it only proves that you know nothing of physics. Universe constantly expands. And we are part of the universe. We are part of this physical world. Everything expands. Everything changes. Everything is subject to the wheel of change and to the wheel of transformation. The question is, are you relinquishing your freedom to direct your change, and you are staying a slave to the system, and you are changing as per the puppet masters change the rules of engagement and the things that they constantly like change their mind? You should do this, then you shouldn't do that, then suddenly we discovered something new, right? Or you are claiming back your sovereignty through realizing that you are empowered to direct your change. You compress yourself inwards to do inner work, to do that self-discovery, not following psychology books, but actually questioning every single thing that you were told from the day you were born, and finding the answers within. This is what we call spiritual awakening. And this is where you claim back your sovereignty and you claim back your freedom. And this is where your change becomes growth. Your change becomes expansion of your consciousness. Your change becomes removal of the illusions, of limiting beliefs, of the slavery of your shadows, of your wounds, what you used to think that this is who you are. It's the infamous phrase, you are not who you were told to be. You have the capacity to change. So it's a lie. Don't believe that. You can be 60, 70, 80. All you need to do is let's go. Let's do this. Let's question. Let's compress. Let's go inwards. It's something that we train ourselves to do. And it's the system that keeps telling us that we cannot change, because they don't want us to change. Why would they want us to change? They constantly harvest our energies. We're perfect slaves, obedient. They don't want us to change. They don't want us to be sovereign, right? People who rule this matrix, people who actually benefit from the fact that we obsessively want to live in the cities and work in corporations. But you have the power, no matter how old you are, no matter where you find yourself. It's never too late to say, let's go. Let's do this. Let's start a shadow work. Let's start that awakening. Let's understand that there's more to life than what they told me. Let's understand that I am more than what they told me.